I got something really cool to show you. It's now officially Christmas, the perfect time of year to commemorate the 2003 family fun film, Elf. It's a movie with which my singular gripe is that I wish it was a bit more video game-esque. It's a Christmas miracle! Elf on UMD Video, so you can watch it on your PSP. I guess that's a little better, it is Elf on a video game console, but it's literally just the movie, not an actual game. Elf the Movie on Game Boy Advance. Despite the title, it's not one of the GBA video cartridges that came with actual movies on it. It's a full-fledged game, published in November 2004 to build up hype for the ginormous fun of the movie's home video release later that month. It was originally set to be released on November 16th, the same day the DVD came out, but for some reason they changed their minds and decided to put it out a couple weeks early. There's a bit of ambiguity online as to the exact day. Amazon says that it was published on November 2nd, a press release announcing the game's release date was sent out on November 3rd, and Metacritic says it came out on November 4th. Now this might not seem important, but when time travel's invented and I only get one shot to go back in time and experience picking this game up from a store on launch day, this will be crucial information. Now let's get into the game itself. What do I do? If you don't know how to operate a Game Boy Advance, then you're in luck. The game's manual has you covered. Turn off the Game Boy Advance. Insert the Elf Game Pack. Turn on the Game Boy Advance. Select default language. This is an important step. Although you might assume that selecting the non-default French, German, Spanish, or Italian might be appropriate if you spoke those languages, this would actually cause your system to explode. And finally, press start at the title screen, even though the language select comes after the title screen. With that lengthy setup process out of the way, we're ready to go. Being a story mode, the first thing you'll see here is a frame from near the beginning of the movie. There's usually one of these shown before every level, taking you through the movie's narrative, but they're presented without any context, not even any text explaining them, so the story only makes sense if you're already familiar with the events of the film. Which is totally fine by my book. It keeps out all the posers who jumped on the elf bandwagon without actually seeing it. The game's beginning section is a simple 2D platformer. You have to avoid hazards like polar bears, icicle spikes, and collapsing bridges, with the option of collecting pieces of candy for extra points. Pretty simple. Every time you die, which is instant every time you touch anything, your health bar decreases. When it reaches 0, you just go back to the beginning of the level. There's not any kind of game over or live system. If you stop moving partway up a slope, you'll automatically slide down it with the normal walking animation playing. And if you jump, turn around in midair, and then land on a slope facing uphill, then you'll slide down moonwalking backwards. That's fun. Sometimes you can hold left while falling into one of these trampoline pits, and this'll happen. Like many of the cheaper GBA titles of the time, Elf uses passwords rather than a save battery. The passwords are given at the end of every level, and when you die. If you die right at the beginning, you can get a password for the first level, which is handy because entering this 5-letter code will save you the trouble of pressing start on the title screen. The game continues through more of the same type of platforming for a bit, and then there's these trampolines which you have to bounce between over lakes, which causes the screen to scroll up and makes it hard to judge your jumps because you can't see where you're going. In this section, in addition to getting through the stage, you also have to collect the letters N-E-W-Y-O-R-K. This is a subtle nod to how in the movie, when Buddy travels to New York to meet his real father, he goes to New York. Superb! You have found all the letters! I guess in this universe the alphabet has a very limited selection of characters. The next level changes the gameplay style, with a new perspective view where you have to jump between icebergs. Some of these jumps are pretty tight, and you get set back if you fall in the water, so this is when I gave up on trying to collect every piece of bonus candy. Luckily it does have checkpoints, but your progress on these is reset when your health reaches 0, so it's important to refill it with healing items, especially these stars. In the next level, you snowboard down a hill on a piece of ice, while trying to collect the items along the way and not get knocked over by obstacles, which can be tricky when you respawn right in front of them. But overall, it's a pretty easy segment. It's short, and there are enough health refills that you can't easily lose unless you're doing it on purpose. At the bottom of the hill, you finally reach New York, at which point the game switches back to the 2D platformer mode from the beginning. Now it's considerably less snowy and has different animals, namely raccoons and mallards, which are huge, especially compared to that one raccoon in the movie, which, in contrast, wasn't the same size as a human. Since all the animals take you out in one hit, traveling between the trees is usually helpful to avoid them. However, by being up in the trees, you miss out on what's happening on the ground, such as the transition from regular grass to hazardous lakes broken up by tiny islands for the tree trunks to grow on. Just like the real New York. Oh god, Buddy the Elf, watch out, there's a car. This next section is the most difficult one in the whole game. It took me about a half hour of attempts to get through. You have to make your way through this street, picking up all 20 of the 3-foot tall Christmas decorations that you'll find along the way, without getting hit by cars or running out of energy. The energy meter is a new mechanic here, and it gets used up whenever you walk. When it runs out, you get exhausted and die and have to start the level over. You do have the ability to refill your energy by spinning in a rotating door, like the ones in the movie that make Buddy throw up, but these doors are sparse, and your allotted energy is pretty tight, so you want to minimize the amount of walking you do. The placement of the ornaments is randomized every time you restart the stage, so you can't just remember the right place to go, you have to search the entire street again. Annoyingly, the game has the camera follow you when you cross the street, so when you're standing at the bottom side, you can see the top, but when you're standing at the top, you can't see the bottom. So in order to efficiently get through, you have to stay on the bottom side of the street the whole time, only crossing over when you see an ornament or rotating door. The obvious problem with crossing is the cars. The cars' behavior is pretty inconsistent. Usually they don't care about pedestrians, and they'll happily crash into you, albeit with some honking, and don't even stop at crosswalks. Except sometimes they'll stop for you in the middle of the road, sort of, but then they won't let you pass, and then if you try to cross, you'll get hit anyway. And sometimes they'll honk at you when you aren't anywhere near. You pretty much just have to run and hope for good luck in order to get across the street safely. Running uses up your energy even faster than walking though, so you'll want to stop as soon as you get to the other side. When you refill your energy by spinning in a rotating door, a security guard will chase after you when you leave. The guards will just turn around and go back as soon as they touch the street though, so immediately walking down into the street after leaving is the quickest way to get rid of them. You finish the level the moment you finally find all the ornaments, and you do need to find all 20 in one go. If you miss even one, then you have to backtrack and pretty much check the whole street again until you find it. The next few levels are little mini-games based around the mailroom that Buddy's dad dumps him off at in the movie. The first one is a little puzzle minigame where you have to match up the letters and tubes with the appropriately colored pipes. Usually for minigames like this, there's some sort of indication of anything flowing through the pipes, but here you just have to notice the lights changing and match them up again, which is a little unsatisfying. The next game is pretty much just Simon Says with floor numbers, where you have to type in the floor number to drop off the presents at. It does specify that these are floor numbers, so I guess since the numbers are 3 digits long, the mailroom has 1,000 floors in it. Crazy. I guess that's just how organized they need to be in order to get all the mail delivered on time. Superb! The package has arrived. Yes! From here, it alternates between the pipe game and the Simon Says game a few more times, each time getting progressively more difficult. The pipe puzzles get more complicated, and the floor numbers keep getting longer. It's so cool of them to incorporate New York's iconic 100,000-story buildings into the game. It's the little things like this that make us Yorkers feel appreciated and represented in gaming. The next level features a snowball fight like the one in the movie, except that now instead of random kids, it's against blue costumed clones of Buddy, colloquially known as Bloodies because they're blue. You have to hit enough of them before the timer runs out without hitting the Santas, even though they're clearly imposters and not the real Santa because otherwise there wouldn't be more than one of them. Hitting a Santa cancels out one of the elves that you hit. One issue here is that there isn't any depth with the snowball's collision detection, so a Santa can pop up in the way while your snowball is on its way to hit an elf, and there's nothing you can do about it except try to throw straight up vertically. After you lose and start over, orange buddies start appearing in addition to the blue ones, which weren't there before. Makes it easier to get the needed number of hits, I guess. On to the next stage, where you have to find and deliver all the presents that Santa's littering throughout the road. Seems simple enough, you can tell which houses they go to by the colors. This one's green and blue, so it goes to the green house with the blue door. Oh wait, no, it won't let me put it there. Actually, it goes to the blue house with the green door. How stupid of me. Hey, do you have any magenta wrapping paper with blue stripes? Not blue wrapping paper with magenta stripes. I need it to match my home's exterior decorating. And now for another platforming stage. It's the same as before, except now it's nighttime and the enemies are park rangers. And instead of collecting letters, you're collecting nuts to repair Santa's sleigh. After you locate all 5 of these nuts, oh wait, that's just a weird font. After you locate all 8 of the nuts, it's on to the final stage. You play as Santa trying to build up Christmas spirit so you can fly away and avoid the park rangers. Every time you collect a bell, the Christmas spirit increases, and you can use it to fly a little bit higher in the air. But once you use it, you can't really do it again until you hit another bell. Ideally what you want to do is go in a path through the sky that continually hits all the bells in midair, keeping you off the ground for as long as possible without ever running out of Christmas spirit. But since the screen scrolls up and down, you can't ever actually see where the bells are without guessing, so it's all up to blind luck. But once you do it successfully, you win. Even Santa himself could not have done better. Congratulations, Buddy the Elf has saved Christmas. That's it? Just text on a background? Jesus Christ's cooler older cousin, Jesus fuck. Who had the nerve to put an ending screen at the end of the game? Overall, this game got a 4 out of 5. Awesome! Now that's the end of the story, but not the end of the road. There's also a few mini-games you can play from the menu, which seem like they might have been failed level ideas. First, there's Snowman Building, which is a series of sort of puzzle levels where you have to figure out what path to take to roll some balls of snow into a snowman. Then there's Santa Says, which is just Simon Says again, but with toys you have to put in Santa's sack in a certain order. When you do it right, it says, "Brilliant, could not have asked for a better helper," so that's sweet. And lastly, there's this game where you have to sort shoes into similarly colored boxes. I can't do it. Overall, this game got a 5 out of 5. Awesome!